Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Thank you for coming here today on such short notice. We're gathered here to give some background to the case that has been breaking today of the 5 missing young people from Northern Virginia. In many instances, we'll have to be intentionally vague because of confidentiality reasons and legal implications of this case, and the fact that it's an ongoing investigation, that we don't want to compromise any aspects of the investigation. So we'll have first a few words detailing the case from the Executive Director of the Council on American Islamic Relations, Nihad Awad, stating the timeline of what happened in this case and giving some facts, and again, intentionally general because of the legal and confidential nature of the case. And then we'll hear from community leaders who have been in touch with families or are aware of the situation and want to state the community's views on this situation. But I think the main point that we want to stress throughout this news conference is that it was the Muslim community that came forward, took the lead on this case, brought the information to law enforcement authorities, and is in continuing cooperation with law enforcement authorities as this investigation goes forward. So first we'll hear from Nihad Awad, that's N-I-H-A-D, Awad, A-W-A-D, National Executive Director with the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. On Tuesday, December 1st, I received a call from a community member that 5 family members would like to come and speak to us. We invited the 5 families to come here to CAIR along with other leaders, and they expressed concerns that their 5 young sons, 25, have been missing since the weekend under mysterious circumstances. They pieced the information together. They were not given reasons why they were away from home, and they discovered that the 5 men were overseas. Immediately, we urged the families to contact the FBI, and we connected them in the same day with the FBI. We also put them in touch with lawyers to make sure that their constitutional rights are preserved while this case is being investigated. Several family members felt that the 5 men, because of their the bits and pieces of the information that were not adding together. And excuse me for not being very clear here. First of all, we thank the families and we applaud their courage to face this issue and bring it to our attention. And we urge the media to respect their privacy when they deal with them. And our hearts go with the families who are dealing with this ordeal. Also, we thank the FBI for taking the case immediately and investigate this case. Later, we heard that the 5 people, or maybe 4 of them, were arrested by Pakistani authorities, and the case is still being investigated. We also know that the law enforcement authorities are in touch with several community members and people who have acquaintances with the 5 young men to dig into more questions. We also, as a community, realize and recognize that there is a problem. This problem, we believe, it is not widespread. But we as a community, we acknowledge that there is a problem and we are going to deal with it effectively. We are going to launch a major campaign of education to refute the misuse of whether verses in the Quran or the misuse of certain grievances in the Muslim world. We believe that we can do a lot to reinstate confidence in young American Muslims, that they have to be fully engaged, as the majority of them are engaged in civic life and in the political process. Also, we urge all those who have more information about this case to come forward and inform the authorities and also let us know about it. We also understand that, unfortunately, this incident will be exploited by the cottage industry of Muslim bashers who try to marginalize American Muslims and demonize Islam. So we urge the media that when you investigate this case, refer to Muslim leaders, acknowledge their leadership in coming forward and dealing with this issue head on. We know that there is a previous case of missing Somali young men in Minneapolis. We don't see similarities or connection between the two cases as far as we know the information. Also, it was reported that a video was left by the 5 men. I have seen the video and I was disturbed by the content of it. And that's why we are launching this major campaign to refute and respond to any potential misuse of whether religious text or even interpretation of events around the world. With that, I will leave it back to Ibrahim, and I'll be happy to answer questions at the end.
I don't know if I gave my spelling. Ibrahim Hooper, Ibrahim Hooper, Hooper, National Communications Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations. Next, we'll have Ibrahim, Ibrahim, Hooper, Hooper. Next, we'll hear from Haris Taran, the DC Director for the Muslim Public Affairs Council that is based in Los Angeles.
I'll spell it. My name is Haris Taran. That's Haris, last name Tarin. I am with the Muslim Public Affairs Council. And once again, I wanted to reiterate that the families have been very courageous and brave in coming forward to community groups such as CAIR. It is a painful time for the families, and we urge that you respect their privacy as this investigation continues. But this case highlights the critical nature of the relationship between the Muslim American community and law enforcement. We understand, as was said by Nihad, that there is an issue, a problem in our community, although it is isolated. But any problem is a major problem for our community, and we as community organizations, mosques, leaders will be addressing this and continue to address this problem. This case highlights the important relationship between law enforcement and Muslim communities, that there must exist between law enforcement and Muslim American organizations direct communication, where they are able to speak to each other, where they're able to communicate and engage each other, because the goals of law enforcement and Muslim American organizations are the same. That is the safety and security of our nations and citizenry. So it's extremely important that this case highlight that relationship. We also understand that there will be individuals who will seek to exploit this case from the cottage industry. Those who want to marginalize Muslim Americans and specifically want to marginalize young Muslim Americans.